Rich Tarani with TMC. Thanks for watching. This week we are taking part in TMC on the road in Dallas, Texas. It is September 2015. John Hoadley, the CTO of Taqua, is with us. And John, we're thrilled to have you. How are you?
It's great to be here.
So it kind of makes sense, I think, always to start at the top. Tell me a little bit from your perspective about Taqua, what you guys are up to.
Okay, so Taqua's been around for quite a few years, over 15. But our focus and where we really see a huge opportunity is voice over Wi-Fi. And it's not only an opportunity in North America, it's a global opportunity. It's something we've been working on for probably 4 years now, and it grew out of our small cell business. And, the role we play is we provide carriers, mobile operators, and also broadband players and MVNOs with a client and with the core network equipment, so they can very quickly get to market with Wi-Fi calling, voice over Wi-Fi.
So I was actually at Mobile World Congress when you launched, so it was like 3-4 years ago, and I had a chance to have a briefing with you. So it's evolved quite nicely, and now it's becoming more popular, and we're beginning to see it in some of the mainstream handsets from mainstream U.S. carriers. And I know the need is only growing because of the bandwidth demands on all the networks out there, and just a lack of coverage, and it just seems like tremendous growth ahead, right?
Oh, yeah, and it's global. So if you look at it, carriers around the world all have coverage challenges. When a user's in a building, when they're at their home, in an office, public spots, and what's around everywhere is Wi-Fi. So, subscribers have already figured out a long time ago how to offload their data onto Wi-Fi. And, if you can, from a carrier's perspective, it's really a win-win. You're giving your customers better coverage because often the best RF access point is a Wi-Fi access point, and you're saving costs in terms of your radio network. So we're seeing kind of that reaction from, it started first in North America. Our lead customer was Sprint. We provide the clients and support the core network elements to support their Android phones. But, globally, this is a huge phenomenon, and people are realizing that they need to take advantage of this very quickly.
Now, what about other non-Android devices? How is that going in terms of adoption of this kind of technology?
Well, the whole market really changed. I have to admit, we were probably a bit of a cottage industry for a while. But, when the native client to support Wi-Fi calling got introduced into the iPhone with the 5S, that was a huge change in iOS 8. So we support native clients in the devices, but we also provide a downloadable client because, a lot of the phones out there don't have native clients. So there's a big installed base that doesn't have that. Carriers often don't have the full infrastructure to support a very involved process to support the native clients. So we try to make it easy to support the native clients and then also provide our downloadable clients, so you can get most of your subscribers who are Android 4.0 and above, plus these native clients, all up and running on voice over Wi-Fi.
Very nice. So in terms of those different groupings that you told me about, MVNOs and wireless carriers and some of the others, which is the group that seems like it's adopting the most quickly?
Well, the biggest one in all the Wi-Fi calling launches have been done with the mobile network operators. So kind of the traditional carriers that you go to, 3 or 4 in every country, are all looking at Wi-Fi calling because it fits in very easily into their network. But what we're seeing as well is that there's a whole community called Wi-Fi First, looking at partnering with some of the wireless providers. But basically, as a broadband carrier, could you, as well as providing kind of Wi-Fi at home, could you provide another service off of people's cell phone because they're already using your Wi-Fi in public places at their homes? Can they make use of that and provide kind of a full service, including the voice and messaging as well? And that applies to the broadband carriers and the MVNOs, the virtual network operators, who in some cases can provide get significant cost savings by offloading some of their calls from cellular onto Wi-Fi.
So the challenges in the past with this kind of technology have been things like handoff. What are some of the ways to mitigate those challenges?
Well, there's a bunch of challenges. I mean, but we see they've all been overcome. I mean, handoff is something we support. We support a handoff from Wi-Fi to cellular. Security has always been a concern people have, but we're the messaging and the calls and messages themselves are fully tunneled between the client and the security gateways back in the network or the SBCs. One of the big challenges has been how quick and how easy is it to integrate into the carrier's existing network, and that's a problem that we truly have solved. I mean, with the carriers that we're working with, we don't force them to have to do a full upgrade to an IMS core which supports all the bells and whistles for VoLTE. What we do is we provide an intermediate step where they can come in and our core network element works with all the existing HLRs, the switches, the IN system for prepaid. Very simple integration, just like integrating another switch into the network. So we can get them to voice over Wi-Fi very quickly, and then over time migrate them to full IMS support, where we become an application server off of IMS and VoLTE support. So that's been a big barrier for a lot of carriers. Having to spend all that time and all those resources to do a very complex network integration, or take a multi-step approach here, go to voice over Wi-Fi with all the existing services and network components you have today, and then evolve to the more complex service that's going to support not only voice over Wi-Fi but VoLTE. So that's been a major barrier, and that's the one, frankly, we've been able to crack, and we've been able to go into customers and get them up and running in the matter of just a couple months.
So the iPhone 6S just launched, and the 6S Plus, and they've improved their quality or camera quality by 50% in terms of megapixels, which means potentially larger photos. It shoots 4K video, which means more bandwidth hogging, and I imagine that means less room for voice on traditional 3G and 4G networks. Would that mean that these are positive developments for your company, where carriers are going to want to offload even more of their data off of their traditional cellular networks?
Yeah, so the user's demand for bandwidth is just insatiable, so it's going to always increase. So there'll just be an endless stream of improved or higher bandwidth demanding services. So just by the carriers, and I think they've all really come to accept this, that making Wi-Fi your friend really works well. You've got all this potential throughput. I mean, you're providing a full service to the customers. They're happy. You can provide better coverage with RF source that's a lot closer, make use of all that bandwidth when people have deployed broadband. So absolutely. I mean, the more they can offload, the better. Wi-Fi is a technology has just gotten better and better over time. Virtually every device being sold now has Wi-Fi. So making use of all of that and really just voice is one of the many services that you should be running over Wi-Fi as often as you can.
Fantastic. Is there anything else we should know?
Well, a key thing is we have a fully integrated user experience. So from a user's perspective, we're using the native dialer. We basically, when user makes a call or a text over Wi-Fi, to them, it really feels like they're making the same call over cellular. We monitor in the background whether the better link is Wi-Fi or cellular, and so a user doesn't have to manage two separate mailboxes, two separate messaging streams. It's really a carrier service, and from a user's perspective, it's very seamless, and it's just making the best use of what the RF technology is around.
Fantastic. Thanks for being on the program. This was great.
Great. Thanks, Rich.